I did for my senior project a canoe trip, source to sea, down the San Marcos and Guadalupe rivers. And these rivers are in Texas. The San Marcos starts a little south of Austin and then flows all the way into the Guadalupe, which eventually flows out into the Gulf of Mexico. So, why I did what I did. I've really loved canoeing rivers ever since I was little. The picture on the left is of me canoeing with my brother on the St. Croix in Maine when I was 11. And then the picture on the right is of me this spring. Luckily, two of my friends also like canoeing because they had senior projects about rivers and canoe trips too, and I got to join them for parts of their senior project as well. But when I came to COA, I didn't imagine that I was going to be studying rivers. I was very focused on conservation biology. But eventually, after a couple years, I decided I wanted to branch out and explored education and policy, and got to take this wonderful class called Whitewater White Paper, where I learned about river conservation and whitewater paddling. So for my trip, I started in San Marcos and Spring Lake, where the springs bubble up, as you can see on the left picture, from Edwards Aquifer and start the San Marcos River. And I canoed 260 miles all the way down to San Antonio Bay, which is in the Gulf of Mexico. And that's the sun setting on the bay when I was really hoping to get to the end of it before night fell. So this took me about 16 days to paddle in terms of paddling days, but took me a lot longer because the cold front that struck New England also came down and hit Texas right about when I was trying to camp and canoe on the river. So one aspect of my canoe trip was water quality testing. I took water quality tests down the entire river and tested for conductivity, which measures ions in the water, as well as pH and dissolved oxygen. And this data I then gave to Texas State University in San Marcos. And it's a pretty unique data set because over a 3-week period of time, we got water quality testings from the whole river. One of the bigger aspects of my project was education. While I was canoeing down these rivers, I wrote letters to 4 fourth grade classes that were along the rivers. And then just kind of describing what I was doing and what I saw on the river. And then once I finished my trip, I got to drive back along the river and visit all 4 schools and teach a lesson. So this is us sitting around a huge 10-foot map that I made of the river, and I got them to find places on the map and put pictures that corresponded to the places, so they kind of got an idea of what the river looked like, where they were on the river, and kind of where the river flowed, hopefully to get them really excited about the place that they were near. So another aspect of my senior project was outreach. I was really hoping to reach a broader community than just the schools, to get them excited about the river as well. And so these are 3 of the articles that were published about my trip, as well, and there were some newsletters as well. But the one I always get teased about is the middle one, because they call me a Maine woman when really I'm from Dallas, Texas. Finally, an aspect that I didn't really expect from my senior project, but that happened, and I'm really glad it did, was the community that I found based around these rivers. I ended up going down there and meeting with these people, and they spent hours and hours of their free time shuttling me to and from places on the river and paddling with me and planning with me. And out of the 6 canoe partners that I had, 4 of them were people from this community who had never met me before until I called them on the phone and was hoping that they would help me with this project. So it was really inspiring to know that there were a core group of people that really loved this place and this river. So final aspect of my senior project, I came back in the spring and wrote a narrative about my senior project, kind of reflecting back on my experience and why I did what I did, and this also involved a lot of pictures, which was exciting. And that was it.